This is a series of videos I'm going to produce to support A-level economics, and this first video is going to be looking at classical economics. Now, basically all classical economics it's looking at a world based on supply and demand. So demand for a good, lower the price, the higher the demand, and supply. The higher the price, the higher the supply, basically. And in every market, what we should know is that we always get, in theory, to that magic equilibrium point where supply meets demand. And that can be the market for anything: houses, people, so labour markets, for example. We can be looking at commodities. We can be looking at anything we want it to be, basically. So in a classical world, what we assume is that free markets are the best way of doing things because they promote businesses, they promote enterprise, and they encourage people to work hard in order to buy the things that they want. Now, when we aggregate this up to the macro level, if we were building up the model of classical economics, we have on the axis price level, and then we have real GDP. Now, in a classical world, what we assume is that the LRAS curve is this vertical line. And all this basically means is that in the long run, inflation rates are relevant. We're always going to get to what we call the full rate of employment, or the natural rate of unemployment. Here, we're using all of our resources, basically. It's kind of a brick wall for the economy. Okay, now think about what this means then. We have aggregate demand, which, if we remember, is equal to C plus I plus G plus X minus M. Imagine we were in a situation like this. Okay, let's just call it P1 and Y1. Now what we should remember is that this gap between Y1 and YFO is spare capacity. It's unused resources within the economy. Okay, now think about how a market will solve this problem. If there is a bigger supply of something than there is demand, then the market price would fall to get back to that magic equilibrium point. Well, in effect, the same thing happens here. Okay, now when we have spare capacity like this in the economy, there are basically people unemployed, and there are resources sat on shelves not being used. So what people have to do, anything that they would normally do in a market, they have to bring the price down. So what will happen is businesses will suddenly be able to access factors of production at lower prices than what they were before. Unemployed people are now prepared to work for lower wage rates. Firms can access commodities for cheaper than what they could do before. And what this will do, it will make the short-run aggregate supply curve shift to the right. What we've cleared the market. Okay, the new lower prices, people start to demand more because things are cheaper, they're more affordable, and the market will clear, and we get back to YFO. Okay, so what a classical economist would say is that if you have spare capacity, or a negative output gap if you like, the market will self-correct and solve its own problems. Okay, now contrast this with Keynesian economists. Okay, now Keynesian economists would say that when you have spare capacity, it's the government's job to step in and to fix the output gap. But let's look at a problem. Okay, now imagine we are looking at our classical world again. We've got LRAS, we've got aggregate demand, and we've got, I'm just going to change one thing on here actually. Let's call this AD1, and we'll call this one AD2. Now imagine we start off at full output. We're at YFO. Okay, well we're operating as we should do. Now imagine that Keynesian economists wanted to boost aggregate demand in the economy. They increased government spending, for example. It created a positive multiplier effect, and AD went out all the way to AD2. Look at the problem now. Okay, we're now operating with a positive output gap. We're operating beyond the potential of the economy. Now, this can happen for a short amount of time. Okay, firms can overuse machinery. We can get people to work overtime. But what will happen is resources start to become scarce. Think about it like supply and demand. Basically, we've now got an excess demand problem. So what will now happen is that firms will see wage rates getting pushed up. You know, people are basically overemployed. There's lots of jobs available. They're more comfortable to ask for pay rises. Businesses will find that other costs will start to increase. So commodities will become more expensive. And what this will do, it will bid up business costs. So what will happen is as business costs increase, supply will start to shift inwards. And what's happened? We've ended up back at this point here. Now, classical economists would also say that what this inflation will do, it will crowd out private investment. Basically, firms will now become more reluctant to invest because of higher business costs. And the only real impact of what was done on the economy is higher inflation. We've got no real impact on output in the economy at all. Okay, thank you very much.